Many people give up on their health and fitness journey when they feel they don't see progress. Maybe you look in the mirror and you feel like you look the exact same. After all the work you've done, after all the paying attention to the food and the fitness and everything, it can feel discouraging and like it hasn't been worth it. But instead of quitting, it's important to look at what the reasons might be for why you're not losing weight and learn how to fix it. So let's talk about what those problems might be. And I'll also give you the solutions so that you can avoid future disappointment and feeling like you're not making any progress. And I have made all of these mistakes. So let's look at this video as a cheat sheet that I made for you so that you can avoid all these potential problems and you can succeed without all the disappointment. So let's get started. Problem number 1, not understanding your macros. Understanding the types of foods you're eating and the amounts is extremely important for trying to lose weight. Now, does that mean you have to track every single little gram of food you put into your mouth? Not necessarily, but understanding the macro breakdown of what you're eating and why you're eating it is going to be key. So macros, short for macronutrients, are the fats, carbs, and proteins that make up your total caloric intake in a day. And this is important. Every healthy diet contains all three. So protein gets most of the PR for the macros. It's like the macro superhero. And that's mostly because it helps you build up your muscles after a workout and it gives you nice hair and nails. And then once you understand that muscles burn more calories than fat and make you look more toned, you're gonna be a huge fan of protein as well. But you can have too much protein. Eating too much protein can lead to kidney problems, digestive issues, and over time can cause indigestion and dehydration. After protein, we have fats and carbs, and those are typically treated like the villains in this story. While they're often associated with weight gain, they're actually essential for a healthy diet. Both of them. Fats protect your organs, they help hormonal regulation, they keep your cholesterol and blood pressure in good shape, and they help you absorb vital nutrients like vitamins A and D and E. But eating too much fat can also have its own problems, like it can lead to weight gain, diabetes, and heart disease. On the other end, having too little fat can have its own bad effects as well. It can lead to rashes, hormonal imbalance, weakened immune systems, and other vitamin deficiencies because you're not able to absorb those vitamins. Carbohydrates provide the body with glucose. And that glucose is then turned into energy, which helps with body functions and activity. So when you have too little carbs, your body needs to get that energy somehow, so it starts to break down fat into ketones to get that energy. And this process is called ketosis. And ketosis can lead to potential issues like bad breath, headaches or migraines, fatigue, and weakness. Now, too many carbs can also have an issue, and it can lead your body to have a load, which is hard on the body to handle. When you have a lot of carb intake, your body is constantly dealing with high levels of blood glucose, which causes your insulin levels to go up. And over time, your body is going to get more and more used to having higher blood sugar levels, and it's going to cause your body to go into what's called insulin insensitivity, and that is not good because it can lead to a lot of other issues. So the solution to this is understanding at a high level your macro intake. So contrary to what a lot of fad diets want to tell you, you can't just take out fats and carbs from your diet. That's going to cause a lot of issues that aren't going to be helpful. And if your goal is to lose weight and actually keep it off, just moderating the amount that you're having of each of those is the best plan. For weight loss purposes, about 20 to 30% of your overall calories should come from fat. And about 30 to 40% should be coming from carbs. Now, these numbers can be tweaked a little bit depending on your overall activity and how your body responds to that type of intake. I have a whole video on how to calculate your own macros if you're interested, so check that out. I'll link to it below. Problem number 2 is too many calories. When it comes to losing weight, it is just simple math, even though there's a lot about losing weight that doesn't feel very simple. But if you're not losing weight, it could likely mean that you're not eating the right amount of calories, that you're eating more calories than your body needs. The only way to lose weight is to be at a caloric deficit. And that means that you're burning more calories than you're actually eating in a day. So the solution to this problem is exercise and movement. To make sure that you're at a caloric deficit, I highly recommend getting some daily movement in. With just 30 minutes of brisk walking, for example, you can burn up to 200 calories. Plus, if you've watched my video on the benefits of walking for weight loss, you already know that walking will also help with reducing overall inflammation and a ton of other great benefits. So check that out. I'll link to that one below for you too. And all that exercise, whether you're doing strength training or walking or both, is gonna add up or subtract. You get what I'm saying. We all know what I'm saying. Let's move on. Now, resistance training also helps because it continues your metabolic output throughout the day. So that means you're burning calories while you're doing the exercise and you're burning calories for the rest of the day because of that intense workout. It's like the best thing ever if you're trying to lose weight. Problem number 3 is deceptive foods. Now, the calorie counting game can be a tricky one because a lot of healthy foods have a ton of calories. So what do we do about that? You know, foods like hummus and olive oil and avocados and nuts and nut butters and smoothies and dried fruits are packed with calories. And those super healthy foods can sneak up on you with the calories that you're eating. I know, it's not helpful. So the solution here is to limit your intake. These foods are still very useful to eat for their nutrients and for the minerals and for all the goodness that you get out of them. But you just have to eat them within moderation and to eat them because you know what you're getting out of them. And you're choosing that food even though it's high in calories because of the value that it brings you. There are also a lot of other ways to make small calorie cuts here and there. For example, if you tend to add a lot of cream and sugar to your coffee, try minimizing it, bringing it back down, or maybe even trying it black. That's why I love my Cleanish Better Than Yesterday coffee because it's delicious even without a ton of cream and sugar. If you use a bunch of ketchup and mayo on your sandwiches, maybe try using a little bit less or replacing it with mustard. If you go out to eat at a restaurant, maybe don't finish the whole plate, just eat until you feel full. You don't have to feel pressured to finish your entire meal. Take some home. And this is another reason why having a food journal can be really helpful, so that you can pay attention to the food you're consuming and you can keep track of it on a daily basis so you are never out of whack with what you should be eating. Problem number 4 is snacking. Now, speaking of foods that can quickly add up without you even realizing it, that mindless snacking that you're doing here and there, grabbing a bite of this and having a snack there, without even trying, you can add up to a lot of calories in a day. And that isn't even including the meals that you're eating. So the solution here is to actually track the food you're eating so that you are aware that those snacks that you had earlier are part of your overall caloric intake for that day. Intermittent fasting can also be really helpful for this because you have set time frames when you allow yourself to have your feeding window. And then when you are off of your feeding window in your fasting window, snacks are off limits. So it takes away that choice and you don't have to worry about mindless snacking in those times. Intermittent fasting by far changed my life in terms of snacking. Smart snacking is another beneficial way to incorporate that activity, but still have it help you to reach your goals. Plus, studies have shown that those who continue to have artificial sugars and added processed foods tend to be higher in overall weight and have difficulty losing weight. There are also a ton of low-calorie foods that you can have that are naturally occurring and almost eat as much as you want if you really wanted to. And you can start with that step. If it's too hard to not snack, find a snack that works for you. Cucumbers, lettuce, apples, grapefruit, and broccoli. The next problem is alcohol. Like snacking, alcohol can be one of those things where you don't really recognize the caloric intake while you're having your drinks. Plus, you have the added benefit that the more you drink, the less you really care about your weight loss goals. And if we're just talking about calories, the average glass of wine has about 100 calories in it, and the average beer has about 150 calories. Now, if you're having lots of alcohol, that can really add up. But more importantly, we tend to snack a lot if we're drinking, and so having those two behaviors happen together is going to have a big impact if you're trying to lose weight. So the solution here is to limit yourself and your options. If you don't want to cut alcohol out of your life completely, that's totally fine. Just try to moderate how much you have and only have 1 or 2 drinks at most. Problem number 6 is the scale. Oh, the scale. Relying on the scale can unfortunately lead to a lot of frustration and unhealthy habits. It can cause you to start calorie restricting too much, skipping meals, and maybe even taking fat loss pills. But if you're working out and you're doing strength training, you might be building muscle And that is gonna weigh just as much as the fat. So you might be completely changing your body composition, even though you're not losing any actual weight. Plus, your weight can fluctuate daily, leaving you to just go crazy if all you're doing is paying attention to the scale. And the solution here is to pay attention to other progress indicators, not just the scale. While the scale can be a great objective measure for weight loss, it doesn't tell the whole story, and it doesn't show you the difference between weight loss and fat loss. And what we really care about here is fat loss. So plateaus in your weight loss could be due to a ton of things. It could be due to menstrual cycle changes, bowel movements, water intake, overall inflammation. So instead, try to focus on other indicators like how you feel in your clothes. Do they feel a little bit looser? How much energy do you have? Do you feel like you have more energy than you used to? How does your body feel? Do you feel like you have less inflammation and you're in less pain in your joints? You could also take progress pics and compare them across the weeks. You could take measurements and compare them to each other. And all of these are to be tracked over time throughout your journey. And if you do need some help to get started on losing weight and really sticking to a good plan, check out my 30-Day Healthy program. I have a whole month of meal plans for you to get started, plus daily emails with support and motivation to keep you on track to reach your goals. And let me know in the comments, which one of these problems are you struggling with the most? I'd love to hear from you and to help you with your journey. I'll see you in the next video.